What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Kosher Nostra back at you guys with another sneaker review, unboxing, and of course that on-feet look with a little sock combo to match, guys. Let's jump right into another one. Alright guys, back to back with the Zoom Freak 2s in a men's size 11. The colorway on this bad boy is Desert Sand / Gem Red and Sail, retailing for $120 US. Let's check out this colorway of the Zoom Freak 2s. Alright gang, in hand we have the Zoom Freak 2 in the Letter Bro colorway. These are dope. I really like these. This is probably my favorite Zoom Freak 2 that has hit shelves. We've either had some sort of weird kind of colorways that are a little bit polarizing. We've had the toned down sort of black and white or more neutral type colorways. And then we've had a couple more brighter options, a few of which I have not actually been able to get my hands on just yet. They haven't actually released in any of the stores around here. Things have just been so weird with the releases and what actually does hit stores, what doesn't hit stores. But guys, I had to pick these up. If you know anything about what I kind of dig and what I collect, you definitely know this is a colorway that appeals to your boy. I dig the alphabet soup sort of look that they've got going on the majority of this sneaker. All the lettering and the color that dominates all the lettering is really unique in my opinion. Now guys, before we go ham talking about the colorway, let's touch on the shoe itself. The Zoom Freak 2s, in my opinion, are a massive upgrade from the Zoom Freak 1s. While a lot of people are not really digging the aesthetic of the 2s nearly as much as the 1s, especially guys, the lack of the oversized reversed swoosh on the lateral side of the shoe, which really became a staple of the Zoom Freak 1s. And honestly, to me, in my opinion, I was really expecting to see that continue in the line going forward. Instead, they returned with the oversized swoosh. However, they brought it in the more traditional placement and direction instead of having it reversed like they did on sort of the midsole of the shoe with the 1s. And guys, like I said, while a lot of people don't seem to dig the actual aesthetics of the 2s nearly as much as the 1s, on court, in terms of actually balling in this shoe, I feel like this shoe is infinitely better than the 1s. They've just made a lot of upgrades and really started to take this shoe in a unique direction, in my opinion. You've got the decoupled outsole, you have this sort of outrigger that dominates the medial side of the shoe, and combined with the more traditional lacing system and everything else that this shoe brings to the table, it honestly makes me excited to see what Nike has in store for us as the Freak line continues. One of the main things that you will notice about the shoe, whether you're looking at the medial or the lateral side, or even the bottom of the shoe itself, is that because they've decoupled this outsole, and what that means is there's sort of an independent back half of the outsole, and then there's an independent front half of the outsole. And the idea is really to allow you to be more shifty, to make things like Euro steps and stuff like that on the court a little bit easier, because the chassis of this shoe is sort of going to flex a little bit, which is sort of a unique and pretty cool aspect of the shoe. Because the two portions are decoupled, you can really see a lot of that curvature on the midsole, especially in the middle portion of the sneaker itself. Another thing they chose to do, which in my opinion was sort of a no-brainer and kind of a head scratcher with the 1s, was they moved the Zoom Air from the heel portion of the shoe up to the forefront of the shoe, which really just makes all the sense in the world, guys, because nobody really lands on the back half of their shoe consistently. Everybody's always landing on the forefront of your shoe, on your toes, on the ball of your foot. That's how you're coming down. That's sort of where you're focusing a lot of your weight and your push-offs and stuff like that, not the heel portion of the shoe, whether you're jumping or you're running or any real movements that you're making consistently on a basketball floor. So for them to move that Zoom bag up to the forefront of the shoe, guys, makes all the sense in the world to me, and really makes this a much better option than the 1s on court, in my opinion. I love the way these shoes feel on feet. Once your foot is in this shoe, it really hugs your foot super snug. That Zoom Air is definitely apparent in the forefront of the shoe, while the plethora of cushioning that they have in the back heel portion of the shoe is also apparent as well. It sort of feels like they might have gone with Cushlon back there, because it's just a really plush, really forgiving option back there in the heel portion of the shoe to sort of make up for the lack of zoom or lack of air or whatever placed in the heel portion of the shoe. To me, it feels great. I love how it feels underfoot. The heel cup of this shoe is very, very pronounced, something that really is going to wrap around the heel of your shoe, reaching up towards the Achilles portions of your ankle, and really that's what's going to provide you with that ankle lockdown that's going to keep you consistently flat on the footbed of this shoe, so you're not going to be sliding all over the place or shifting all over the place or anything like that, and thus guys, you're not going to be twisting ankles and hurting yourself on court. To me, this shoe definitely achieves that. There is a lot of lockdown in the heel portion of that shoe. The shoe is extremely snug in a good way, in my opinion, guys, and really honestly feels like the sort of true successor to the Kobe's, which I've said in a lot of my Zoom Freak 2 videos, not just because it's a low, but because of the way this shoe hugs your foot and because of the way they've actually cut the shoe itself. When you turn to the medial portion of the shoe, you can see how they have this sort of independent outrigger that's worked into the lacing system of the shoe. It's a little bit more noticeable on this colorway of the shoe because you've got that colored sort of letter pattern underneath as it sort of reaches up where the actual laces reach into the holes of the shoe right there. The outrigger is another one of those things that while it might not be the most aesthetically pleasing, they sort of have this sort of smaller miniaturized stitched on swoosh back here. It is extremely functional. It wraps around your foot almost like you would when you're holding a football by the stitches and just gives more structural support and lockdown to your foot from that aspect of the shoe right there. The outsole of the shoe, which we've touched on a little bit, the actual material and the nubs and stuff that they used, especially on the actual forefront of the shoe, they feel pretty darn good and they're actually pretty rigid. There is a lot of sort of individual nubs and it kind of makes you wonder longevity wise how those individual nubs will really hold up on courts, especially outdoor courts. However guys, wearing these things a little bit, playing on outdoor courts a little bit, putting up some shots in these things a little bit, they definitely respond, they definitely bite into the court and give you really, really great traction. So in my opinion, kudos to Nike for what they did right there. That was something on the Zoom Freak ones that there was a lot of inconsistency with that actual traction pattern on the ones. So again guys, another massive enhancement from the Zoom Freak ones to the twos, that traction pattern and the actual bite that these things provide, much, much superior to the Zoom Freak ones. Last but not least guys, colorway wise, these are really, really dope. Really a unique colorway in my opinion. I don't know what it is about some of this sort of cream kind of colored shoes here lately, and I mean specifically sort of the more khaki-er colors that we've started to see on some of these Nikes a little bit more consistently, and not necessarily sort of the off-white or the sail or colors like that. But I am really starting to be a sucker for some of these colorways, especially when they throw the right mixture of color on top of that. It just really, really is a dope base for all that color to sit on. We're so used to sort of stark white shoes that's starting to get a treatment to some of these other sort of neutral type colors. Like this one has a very sort of sesame Yeezy kind of color vibe to it, and in my opinion guys, really, really smack. It's one thing, I think if this shoe, if the upper was white, I probably would love the shoe still. However, I would not like it nearly as much as I dig these. It just makes everything else pop way better. You've got the red leather swoosh on the lateral side, which is sort of dressed in these sort of TPU plastic pieces right here that are kind of in this sort of pastel-y purple kind of blue type color. You got the orange laces on the shoe itself, which I think is another really kind of bold hit that they chose to come with. You have some touches of yellow gold type accenting here and there, such as on the Freak logo on the tongue of the shoe itself, on this sort of miniaturized heel pull that they worked into the shoe, which in my opinion is more of an aesthetic thing than it is a functional thing. You do have quite a bit of white or sort of sail on the actual outsole itself, which the entire decoupled outsole is going to be white in nature, whether it's the front half or the back half of that outsole. And then guys, my favorite and the most noticeable aspect of this colorway is going to be that sort of alphabet soup pattern that we have dominating the tongue of the shoe and really the back half of the shoe itself, the heel portion on both the lateral and medial side of the shoe. You see a lot of letters in different colors, whether it be that sort of pastel blue color we talked about before. You've got red represented, you actually have white, you have what appears to be, in my opinion, sort of a tan type color. You have the orange from the shoelaces, and the yellow as well. So all the colors we see in other spots on this shoe, we also see on the letters on the Alphabet Soup. And guys, the idea behind the Alphabet Soup aspect of this shoe is going to be a shout out to Giannis Antetokounmpo's last name itself, and just how wordy and how many freaking letters there are in his last name itself. So that, according to what I've read, is where they got the idea to do this colorway of the shoe. And guys, in my opinion, in like 4 or 5 years, I feel like this is one of those colorways that people are really going to be reaching back for. So guys, like I said, probably my favorite color of the Zoom Freak 2s that I've gotten my hands on so far. There is at least, I want to say, 2 colorways out there that I haven't tracked down yet. One's that sort of sunburst or sunset colorway or whatever. That's definitely a tough colorway as well. But these guys are just unique enough with the right hits of color that I think these will hold the top notch for a little while for me. What do you guys think? Let's check these things out on feet. Let me know down below. You digging these? You sleeping on these? You gunning for something else? You looking forward to another colorway of the Freak 2s? Or possibly one of the other colorways that I mentioned that I haven't gotten my hands on quite yet. Regardless, guys, let's check these things out with the sock combo to match from Stance Socks, fam. Appreciate you guys rocking with me and my reviews. Questions, comments, concerns, throw them to me down below, guys. Of course, sub to the channel if you haven't yet. Hit me with that thumbs up comment so I can rank up in YouTube and other people can check this video out. Much love, guys. Stay blessed. Keep copying sneakers. Peace.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boys.